Well, hey there, gang. I'm Crash, one of your hosts for the Crashcast podcast, an RC-related podcast. If you're not familiar with the podcast and you've happened across this video in YouTube or whatever, go check out thecrashcast.com on the web, and that'll take you to my blog page where you can check out the podcast. As well, you can find us in iTunes by searching out The Crashcast, all one word. And we're a podcast, like I say, on the RC hobby. We like to talk about RC-related things. Also, we get into some other things. I'm a ham radio operator. We talk about that every once in a while. It goes hand in hand with the RC hobby. Also, some CNC manufacturing that supports the RC hobby. Anyway, I am pleased to announce that we are back again with another build-along series. We've done 2 of these so far. If you check out my support website, allthingscrash.com, you can find information there on our 2 scratch build endeavors. The very first build along we did was Crash's scratch built EQSC, a small airplane that I designed back in the 90s as a nitro powered funfly type airplane, and we scaled it down and set it up for electric as a simple first scratch built endeavor. Earlier this year, March of 2011, we built our second project, our second scratch build entity, and it was what I call the QSC tricopter, which was basically a multi-rotor aircraft where we showed you how to build a simple airframe and build the multi-weed based flight stabilization system. Well, anyway, we're back again with our third build along in this series, and we're doing things a little different this time. Instead of doing a scratch built project, because I realize that many of you out there want to build, but maybe you're put off, maybe you're a little intimidated by taking on a scratch built project, and I understand that. So this build along is going to be for a kit. We're actually going to build a kit, going old school like I did back when I first started in this hobby some 30 years ago. I want to take you through this. I struggled with which kit would I want to build. I wanted something affordable. If you followed my QSC series, that stands for quick, simple, and cheap. Quick building, simple design, build techniques, and cheap, easy on the wallet. I'm big on that. Well, anyway, I wanted to find an aircraft that fit that mold, something that would be quick, simple, cheap, to turn you guys onto this hobby. It needed to be something that the rankest of beginners could learn to build and could fly as their first RC aircraft. It also needed to be something that, a more experienced pilot would enjoy flying, but could also take it on as their first building project. There are a lot of modelers out here today that have somewhat mastered the skill of flying an RC aircraft. However, they've never built a real airplane. They've had a lot of experience with the ARS, the almost ready to fly, or the bind and fly aircraft, but they've never actually sanded balsa and built an airplane. So I wanted something that would fly well enough that an experienced pilot would enjoy flying and then want to get into the build process. So I don't know, this is the beginning, I don't know how in-depth I'm going to go. I have decided on an airplane that fits that mold, and we are going to be doing one of my favorite manufacturers is Radical RC, a laser cut airplane kit. This thing goes for about 40 bucks. It's a really nice little kit. It's going to give you an airplane that's a high wing that can do, we'll call high wing trainer type aerobatics. It can be built with a flat wing and ailerons. It can be built as a 3-channel aircraft utilizing only 2 servos and using heavy dihedral in the wing, so no ailerons. There's just a lot of opportunity with it. It's a really neat airplane. I've built a lot of airplanes from Radical RC. I've been very pleased with the quality of their kits, and I think you guys will too. I'll post a link below this video to Radical RC so that you can find this fine kit. In the meantime, let's go over a few of the things that you're going to be needing for this build if you want to build along with us. Well, here it is. This is our Radical RC Mini Intern Trainer. Just to show you a few things about this cool little kit. There's the little promotional placard. Here are the plans. Now, back when I started building ages ago, we had a full-size plan and then maybe an instructional booklet. A little bit different here. We've got a breakout of all your parts and basically, enough information there to give you an understanding of, where everything goes. But then all of our instructions after that are all written. So I'll try with this video to maybe stomp out any kind of confusion that you might find going through your first kit build with written instructions, and hopefully I can help you out. Hopefully the video here is going to be understandable. As we open this package here, we've got some hardwood, some light ply, all laser cut. Very nice laser cutting in these kits. We've got a little hardware package. Oh, we've even got wheels. We've got wire for landing gear and push rod stock, and some very nice laser cut balsa pieces. And they just almost just fall out of the sheets. Very nice cutting. Anyway, that's basically our airplane kit. Now, the materials that you're going to need to build this. First off, an airplane is only going to be built as straight and as true as you can, as the surface that you're building on. So, a trick that I've showed you guys in the past is you can go over to your local home improvement store and you can buy ceiling tile, just like what you see here. Just acoustic ceiling tile. Now, we don't build on the top side of it. We're going to build on the back side of it because that's generally the smoothest, and you want to lay that out on a nice smooth table, and you can actually pin with T-pins or sewing pins, raid the wife's sewing drawer or mom's sewing drawer, and you can actually stick all your balsa parts nice and flat to this tile before you actually glue them up. This is a good way of doing it. Now, I personally, that's a good cheap way of doing it. Those tiles are only a few bucks, and you don't have to buy a whole pallet of them. You can buy just one. I like to build on, I don't know how well the camera's going to show, but I build on glass. This is just an old scrap of tempered glass. This is what I like to build on. Now, when I've laid my parts out to to build an assembly, whether it's half of a wing or a fuselage or whatever, once I start gluing, there's a high likelihood that I'm going to glue my work to my building surface. We're going to get some wax paper. You want a sheet or two of wax paper that is big enough to cover your work surface. The reason I like to use wax paper, this is an old modeler's trick, but it allows you to, if you get a little messy with the glue, you get a drop on it and it goes down to your flat building surface, it's going to stick to the wax paper more than it's going to stick to the work surface. So, get yourself some wax paper, cheap, buy it at the grocery store. You're going to need some glue. I am personally using Mercury Adhesive's Thin Viscosity. See if you can see that there. I've got about 10,000 lumens of light in this workshop, but it's still dark. M5T Thin CA, cyanoacrylate. It's like super glue, but you don't want to use super glue when you're building a model. You want to use something that's formulated specifically for balsa building. I like Mercury Adhesive products. So again, I'm using M5T Thin CA. Okay. I like to use an accelerator, and I'll try to show you guys a trick if I don't forget about how to use accelerator in small amounts. Accelerator, as if thin CA glue doesn't dry fast enough, well, accelerator kicks it up and makes it dry even faster, makes it set even faster. I like the Mercury Adhesive MH16 kicker or accelerator. You're going to need some sanding paper. I've got just an old T-bar here that I use. Bought it years ago. You can also, anything, you can buy different things like this at a hardware store, and I'm probably not going to be able to get a T-bar, but anyway, I use this for sanding tool. Sandpaper, I've got some scrap sandpaper. So you're going to need sandpaper. You're going to need something to trim wood with. You're going to need your X-Acto knife. Now, I don't use X-Acto knives very often because I found years ago, I'm king of cheap, and I found years ago that you can get these wonderful little straight edge razors in a box of 100 for like $7. And, this is what I use for most all of my building. There we go. And you know, the bad thing is these can be dangerous. If you're you know, a parent of small children, don't leave these lying around. I've got a 6-year-old and a 10-year-old, and if they pick up one of these, they can do some damage to themselves. So anyway, you need something to cut with. And oh, we're going to need some tape. I'm going to use tape to tape my wax paper down to my work surface, and I've got just some Scotch tape here. As well, you'll need this for your hinging surfaces, ailerons and elevator and rudder. So you'll need some of that. Now, something that I'm really looking forward to with this design. Normally, if you're starting out with your first airplane, you're going to have to get a covering iron. Let's see, I've got one here. If I can get it without knocking everything off my workbench. But you're gonna have to have a covering iron. Here's my old Top Flight beat up 30-year-old iron. Well, these are going to set you back 15 to 20 bucks. And then you're going to have to get covering. And oh my goodness, I've got all kinds of covering. And this stuff, I haven't priced it lately. I bought so much back years ago that I don't have to buy this. I've got tons of stock. But, you know, you're going to want most likely at least 2 colors covering your airplane. And if you get Monocoat or Solite or Oracover, all these different types of iron-on coverings, they're probably going to cost you $15 to $20 a roll. You want at least 2 colors, so you could be looking at 2 rolls there easily to get to, I guess, to cover your first aircraft. You could easily be looking at, oh my gosh, tying up 40, 50 bucks. I'm cheap. I don't want to do that. This is a small aircraft. We're talking about a wingspan of about 33 inches, and all-up weight for this balsa model, 7 to 9 ounces, 10 ounces if we get a little heavy and pig it a little bit, put a big battery. Well, we're going to go back to some old school. We're going to cover in tissue for this project. Now, you don't have to. You can skip all this step, but I think you'd be impressed with how this stuff works. This is just simple tissue paper, like you'd wrap a gift and put it in a gift bag, or wrap around a gift before you box it up and then, you know, wrap it up in decorative paper. I am recording this video just after Christmas of 2011, and I can tell you, man, right now, this stuff is cheap and everywhere. I bought this, 20 sheets that are approximately 20 inches square, I believe. Anyway, I paid $1 for it. I could cover all kinds of airplanes with this, and I've got red and orange and yellow and green and blue and white. Got all kinds of different colors that I can choose from. We're going to do a tissue covering on this lightweight model. I'm really excited about this because in the old days of tissue covering, you had to bring out the, butyl nitrate dope, and it stunk up the house or the workshop. We're not going to do that. We're going to do a little bit different method that I think you guys will enjoy. So I guess I've given enough groundwork here that you should be able to kind of have an understanding of where we're going with this. Join us back in the next video and we'll get started building.